what happened yesterday that I think that they were pointing to, and they did, which we know was just a stage event, was the military presence of the armed National Guard and armed federal agents storming a park in LA yesterday on the 6-month anniversary of the wildfires.
Oh yeah, I
Right?
saw this.
So instead
Saw
of us
this.
talking about Epstein, which was yesterday, instead of us talking about the ineptitude of officials, local, state, and national for the Texas floods, we saw this, which is on our screen right now. This is a local park in LA. It is a known park where a lot of immigrants come. It is surrounded by immigrants. It's an immigrant neighborhood. It's a beautiful place to go to be an immigrant. So of course, what happens? You have armed National Guardsmen. You have armed federal agents. I mean, Jolly, look at the shit on your screen.
I,
It looks
I
like it's a freaking armed invasion. You would think it was like some like drug kingpin compound that they're invading here. There were children there. There were games. There were camps going on. We talk about what happened in this poor camp in Texas, and then you see this stuff going on. This is wild that they did this. From what we know, Jolly, nobody got arrested. No one got arrested. And you have, look at this. You have people in armed Humvees, armored vehicles, excuse me, armored Humvees. These people look like they're in fucking Fallujah
yes, correct.
going in. I mean, I don't mean to, and by the way, let me be clear. I do not mean to demean military service at all. But if this is the shit that you're in the National Guard, I wouldn't be in the fucking National Guard if this is the kind of stuff that you're making me go and do.
I agree with you, and let me say, as an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran, I don't think you're trying to demean service at all because
Thank
I
you.
agree
Thank
with.
you for your service, Jolly. Sincerely,
Thank
thank
you.
you for your service.
But let me explain this military tactic you're seeing. I saw this video yesterday. So as we mentioned earlier, I'm on vacation. So yesterday I was driving, and when I got here to the cabin, I was scrolling through my phone. The first thing that comes up is that, and I was my jaw on the floor. This is happening in America.
Yep.
But let me explain this military tactic to everyone. This is called a cordon and search. We did this in Iraq. We did this in Afghanistan.
Okay.
What you do, it's important for us to understand when the military uses this particular tactic. It's when you have maybe some information or some intelligence that something may be in this location, but we don't really know. So we surround, say, the village, or we surround the location, and we come in and collapse, and nobody's allowed to leave, and we search everything and everybody. Um, so that tells me, from a military tactic standpoint, when you're cordon and searching in a whole park, you're just there fishing around, right? And so here's the problem with that. The big problem for me with that, this is intimidation of the American people. This is absolutely show of force, intimidation of the American people. Because let me tell you another tactic that we use in combat zones. It's called show of force. If we don't really have anything to do and we haven't been through a town in a while, we'll ride through it just to kind of remind everybody we're there. It's called show of force. This is the feeling I got from this show of force, intimidation, cordon and search, fishing around. And that is absolutely disgusting. If I may get on my soapbox for 37.37 seconds, I
Go
want to
ahead.
say this.
Go ahead.
We hear all these people talk about the Second Amendment was the da, da, da. If you actually ever go research the reason the Second Amendment was written, it was this. The people that wrote the founding documents of this country stated that if a president is in charge of a peacetime army, he may use that army to oppress and suppress the people. So to prevent a president from using a peacetime army to become a king, they believed we shouldn't have a peacetime army. We should have a militia, a
Mm.
well-regulated militia that was necessary to the security of a free state. And so that's why the Second Amendment was written. And that's because the people that came here, the colonists that came here, they knew what a monarchy looks like. They knew what it takes to be a king. They knew what it takes for somebody to use resources to oppress and suppress people to gain autocratic power. They knew that. And the one thing that was so important to them that they made it the Second Amendment of this Constitution was that a king would misuse the military to oppress and suppress the people. And for the first time in, I argue, American history, we are seeing that happen. We are seeing a peacetime standing army being used to oppress, suppress people. Think about this. Donald Trump said, I don't start any new wars. I'll get us out of all the wars. That makes our army a peacetime army now. And now we got a peacetime army being used by the president stateside, which is exactly what those architects of the Constitution said is how a king is born.
Listen, this insight was a pleasant surprise. Not your insight always, Jolly, but this military insight is really a pleasant surprise this morning to me and the fellow Lemonheads that are here. For those of you that are tuning in, I was watching the chat. What you're seeing is footage from yesterday, MacArthur Park in LA, when you had armed federal agents and you had armed National Guardsmen, at least 90. And the news reports is worth repeating, Jolly. There were 17 Humvees, 4 tactical vehicles, 2 ambulances, and armed soldiers. And there was an admission by defense officials anonymously that it was not supposed to be a military operation, but the size and the scope of the guards' participation would make it look like it was a military operation to the public. Quote, it's just going to be more overt and larger than we usually participate in. The park where it happens, MacArthur Park, which you guys see right now, it is a large Mexican, Central American, and other immigrant population lined by businesses with signs in Spanish and other languages that has been dubbed by local officials as the, quote, Ellis Island of the West Coast. I mean, it
Like I
was such
said,
a show of
show of
force.
force.
They wanted to pick the place that was the Ellis Island of the West. You know they wanted California because of Gavin Newsom. You know they wanted LA because of the mayor Karen Bass, who ended up there and said, "Get the hell out of my park." And somebody aptly noted in the chat, and thanks Lemonheads for this, the agents rolled up with their own video crew as well. So Jolly, you and I both know they're going to use that shit for propaganda on their
100%.
official accounts, like they've been doing with the alligator Alcatraz shit and everything, right?
Yeah, 100%. This is what you just said verifies my analysis. This was 100% a show of force. And that is disgusting. That should enrage every American. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what your political affiliation is. If you believe in simply showing up with this United States military, a military that I served in, a military that I raised my right hand multiple times, I reenlisted 3 times in that military. And if you believe in using our military as a show of force on American soil for no other reason than just to intimidate the American people, then don't ever call yourself a patriot again. Don't ever say you care about the Constitution again. I promise you that if you do, just freshman 101 studying of the Constitution, the architects of that document warned us against this exact behavior, using a peacetime army to intimidate, suppress, oppress the people is how kings are born. You should be pissed off.
Let me tell you something. The patriots that we're watching on our screen right now are all the people that are the civilians, Jolly, that were holding up those cameras. I mean, I could never think of a better time for us in a pro-democracy space than to be in the 21st century, where we have the ability to video the fascism as it
Mhm.
happens in real time. Look at all those people with their cameras, they're shouting, they're taking videos of what's happening. We need this. We need this. And you know what? A shout out to the local media. This is local media footage from a helicopter camera from the local media from local 7. And we knock media a lot. We're in and listen, not all legacy media is great, but local journalism is important. If we didn't have this to look at, guys, I don't think we'd be able to really understand the scope of what was going on. So I'm grateful for all the civilians that were there, that were taking videos. I'm grateful for the local media to be covering this, because this is the kind of stuff that we need to see is happening on American soil. And I will say, there's a reason why they're coming after California, right? What they're doing is, we have states like Florida, where I live, which is decidedly red, and we have Death Santis and Death Santistan, where I'm living. And we look at other states with envy that have mayors and they have governors that are sane and rational and decent people. They're trying to create a state of fear across the United States. They want to make it seem like any place that you go, you cannot escape the fascism. And they're trying to make us live in a state of intimidation and fear, Jolly, so that we are more susceptible to try to say, yes, sir, may I have another? And that kind of bullshit, which we won't be doing.
Well, they're moving the Overton window, right? They're basically, if we become comfortable with our military casually strolling through a park, right? Because watching this footage, Katie, I when I first seen it, I said, "Oh no, what's happening overseas now? What's happening in a country far away from here now? Oh, that's Los Angeles." Because this is not what we're supposed to see. This is not what's supposed to be at any level normal in America. And any justification that the president and his regime tries to offer for the president, the show of force of American military, there's no justification. There's no invasion. There's no crime rate spike. This is all bullshit made up. You can't back it up with any numbers. So this is nothing more than moving that Overton window a little bit further right so that we become familiar, we become accustomed, we become, normalized having the military in the street so that, when Donald Trump finally says, okay, fuck Congress and fuck, the judicial branch. I'm the law now, which he's only a half a step from doing, let's be honest. Then, we've allowed it. You mentioned the frogs in boiling water earlier. That's what's happening here.
Exactly.
That's what's happening
Frogs.
here.
Yeah, they're hoping that we're just frogs in a boiling pot, and as the temperature gets notched up a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, that we get more and more accustomed and cat M low. Yes, we cannot normalize this shit. There's a
Correct.
reason why Jolly, me, Dawn, you all as lemon heads in the Lemon Nation, Nikki, Andy, Peter, anybody who's out there, my crew at Midas, right? We are speaking out about this because we cannot normalize this shit. We cannot let people think that any of this is normal because it's not.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.